I left home in a hurry to pick up my son from school. Traffic was flowing pretty well that day, nothing on my way but a few red lights. It was while I was waiting at a red light that I noticed a woman. I have no idea how long she had been standing there staring at me, but once I noticed her, I just could not look away. She was smiling like a maniac and waving at me with one hand, while stroking the little boy's hair with the other. The little boy, her son, I assume, was wearing baggy brown clothes and a black goat mask. Now that was a very weird costume. Plus, who wears a costume the day after Halloween? He was also waving and staring at me through that unsettling mask, but his waving felt uncomfortable and forced. The woman's eyes, they could see right through me, and I could almost physically feel her stare fixated on me. She wouldn't even blink. I felt naked and extremely unnerved. Now the boy's eyes, God. The boy's eyes were pleading and begging for help. The woman started to grow impatient, waving harder each passing second. I looked away. For some reason I was terrified. I had to get out of there. Once the green light was on, after what had felt like forever, I took off. Didn't even dare to look back. I thought nothing could be more terrifying than that extremely unsettling feeling I had felt under the stare of that woman and her son. But then I got to school, and they told me my son wasn't there. They told me my wife had already picked him up, but I don't have a wife. They handed me a note saying she had asked them to give it to me. There are no words to describe what I felt when I read the note. Don't say I didn't give you a chance to say goodbye. I've framed the photo. It sits in my cubicle in the same spot it has occupied for the last 2 years. It's a reminder for me to work harder. A reminder of all the pain that was caused by moving too slow. 17 kids went missing that summer, snatched from their bedrooms without a trace of who had done it. This case cut deeper than any I worked on before. Every day another parent would come to me and ask, "Why haven't you found my baby yet?" And I would have to say, "I'm trying, I promise." After the 16th disappearance, we got a photo in the mail. There was writing on the back. 2 words. Clocks ticking. If you didn't know better, you might think the picture was kind of beautiful. It's of an old gravel road that winds delicately up a hill. The picture is taken from the middle of the street, the lens aiming up its path. One side of the road is lined with a patch of bright autumn leaves that look like they've recently fallen. The leaves are matted down slightly as if by heavy rain. In the center of the road there is a small basket. The camera is angled so you can't see inside of it. On either side of the road, there are gigantic pine trees that cast crisscrossing haunting shadows. Our department was able to find this location, but there was no evidence. No basket in the street, nothing in the woods. They dismissed as a false lead. But something about the photo got to me. I kept it on my desk for the next year, trying to figure out what it meant. All I wanted was to tell those parents what happened to their kids. There was just something off about the picture. Something that felt really unnatural about it. I thought about it all the time. The basket, the leaves, the pine trees. Then one day it clicked. Fallen leaves and pine trees. Pine trees don't have leaves. They have needles. Needles don't turn those colors and they don't fall off in the fall. The pile of leaves wasn't natural. After a year of staring at that picture, a year of telling parents I couldn't find their kids, I finally figured it out. I dug a hole where the leaves were in the photo. There was a basket buried underneath the dirt. It held a child's skull. Dental records matched it to Michael Blasters, one of the children who had gone missing. I ordered an excavation of the area. The other kids were buried nearby. Only one complete skeleton was found. It was a child that disappeared only a few days before we got the photo. Unlike the rest, her body was in a coffin. There was a note pinned to the front of her dress. The same handwriting as the photo. 48 hours of air. You could have saved her. I don't know why I looked up, but when I did, I saw him there. He stood against my window. His forehead rested against the glass and his eyes were still and light. And he smiled a lipstick-red cartoonish grin. And he just stood there in the window. My wife was upstairs sleeping. My son was in his crib. And I couldn't move. I froze and watched him looking past me through the glass. Oh, please, no. His smile never moved, but he put a hand up and slid it down the glass, watching me. With matted hair and yellow skin and face through the window. I couldn't do anything. I just stayed there, frozen, feet still in the bushes I was pruning, looking into my home. He stood against my window. Mom, Dad, I'm adopted. My parents ceased their activities. My mother, adorned in a pearl necklace and earrings to match, stood upright. Upon both hands, she wore oven mitts and a matching apron. Her teal sundress really did bring out the blue in her eyes. She closed the oven and removed the mitts, revealing perfectly manicured nails. My father sat his pipe on the end table and closed his book. His hair, just a touch of gray, was immaculate as ever. He wore a plaid shirt and a soft tan cardigan. He removed his reading glasses to look me in the face. Almost in unison, they asked, "Why, dear? What makes you say that, son?" Before them I stood, pressed khaki pants, tucked-in buttoned-down shirt, and a matching belt and shoes. I felt both at one with and detached from the people before me. No. I tried to sound confident, but at the time my confidence was lost to pubescence. Don't be ridiculous. My father stood in the light of our perfectly lit kitchen. He placed his hands on my shoulders and looked me in the eyes. "You're our boy, and we love you." I studied the lines on his face, pleading for a lie, but there was none. "Sit, dear," my mother interjected, opening the stove. Dinner is nearly ready. I sat at our polished wooden table and placed my napkin in my lap, an old habit from etiquette school. I felt my eyes moisten. "Are you sure?" I was able to ask, staring at the blank place on the table where my food would soon be. My mother placed prepared plates before my father and I. He said a brief grace for the table and began eating the roast and potatoes my mother had so delicately prepared. "Positive," he said, savoring his bite and wiping his lip. My mother sat last with her plate on the other side of the table to my left and took my hand. "You're our baby," she said, looking me in the eye and assuring me I was her offspring. "Now let's talk about something else. You haven't said hello to our guest." My eyes and face were wet and red. I stared across the table. The woman before me was tied to her chair. Ropes ran from her throat to her feet, keeping her from any free movement. Across her mouth was tightly wound duct tape, and her head had slumped forward. The only appendage not tied down was her right arm. It was not a kindness extended, but rather unneeded. Her right arm was severed below the shoulder. Blood was still actively pouring from the poor bandaging, and soaking her side deep red. Her eyes had rolled back into her head in a loss of consciousness from the extreme pain she had just endured. My parents shared a laugh over it being seasoned so well. I took all this in again and cried out in a whisper, "Please tell me I'm adopted." A Disney cast member's top priority is the comfort and safety of our guests. For this reason, all Disney World employees must follow these rules. Failure to do so will result in disciplinary action. 1. Ask to examine the photos our guests have taken. Be friendly. Check for abnormalities. If any are found, call for security. Guests may be distracted with free merchandise. 2. Every 7th photograph taken in the dinosaur attraction must be deleted. If questioned, explain that it was a technical error and offer fast passes. 3. The rumors of sharks and crocodiles in the lagoon are false. However, there is no swimming outside of designated swimming pools on Disney property. 4. Dead alligators are common around the lagoon. Simply evacuate the area, call security, then take note of how much has been eaten. 5. There is only one Mickey out at once. If you find a second Mickey having an autograph session, check for eye holes. All Disney costumes have eye holes. 6. If you don't find eye holes, allow the session to continue but disallow photos. Call security immediately after the session concludes. 7. If you spot a second Mickey off to the side, lure him into the tunnels. That's what the ducks are there for. Leave immediately afterwards and do not look back. 8. The Disney World security unit does not wear specially marked clothing. If you see someone wearing a shirt that says Disney Security, shut down that section of the park immediately. Following these rules will help ensure a safe and pleasurable trip to the happiest place on Earth. So stay knowledgeable and stay safe.